Yes, everybody, welcome back to a brand new match preview as we look at, once again, another game just before the international break as Wolves host Southampton. In at the moment, it seems like a relegation six-pointer, which is definitely not the position that Wolves would have wanted or maybe expected to be in at this stage of the season. Of course, we've had some tough fixtures. The fixture list looks a little bit kinder between now and Christmas, but ultimately pressure is on Gary O'Neill. If last week wasn't a must-win, today, or this weekend I should say, is absolutely a must-win. It's not just Gary O'Neill under pressure. Russell Martin, the Saints manager, also under pressure despite picking up their first 3 points of the season last weekend. But we'll be looking at it, the latest team news, giving my thoughts, and we have the opposition perspective, of course, later on in the video. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel as we close in on 18,000 subscribers. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, be sure to leave us a 5-star rating on there as well. Before we kick off though, Football Prizes, our channel partners, have once again got another Wolves prize up for grabs. Alongside some Wolves instant win prizes, there is a signed and framed Mateus Cunha shirt up for grabs, so make sure you check that out and use the link in the top of the description of today's preview to get involved in that. But yes, Wolves hosting Southampton. Wolves at the foot of the table, definitely not a nice place to be in, and it's starting to get a little bit more toxic and negative on social media. We saw a little bit of that spill into the atmosphere at Molineux last weekend as well, after some changes, or some substitutions, some poor passages of play. You certainly start to hear the jeers, and fans not happy with certain decisions that Gary O'Neill was making. He sort of brushed over that today in the social media, in the pre-match press conference, in regards to that. Sort of said he expected it, but on the whole, the crowd were backing the team to a degree. So I think he's taken that fairly well. There are some head coaches and managers out there that I think could have taken that spell a lot more badly, to be honest. But ultimately, I think Gary knows that there's pressure on. He says he's got more things to worry about than his position as head coach. He ultimately just wants to win football matches. But for me now, as a Wolves fan, I think anything other than a win tomorrow, and he has to be under serious pressure, and his job has to come into question, because Wolves now, this is an absolutely perfect window for Wolves to make a decision. I think a loss, and 100% he has to go tomorrow. A draw, the board still may side with him, but still I think there's huge pressure on. You can't go 11, 12 games in the Premier League without picking up a single win. It's just ultimately not good enough, and Wolves have now got this perfect window to make a decision if needed. Of course, I never want to go to Molineux or into any Wolves game for that matter, not wanting to win. Tomorrow at 5 p.m, I want to be celebrating the fact that Wolves have got 3 points. I think we're good enough and we're strong enough to be picking up 3 points against Southampton, who are a poor side. I still think there's elements of Wolves' game that have impressed me this season, but ultimately there's a lot of elements that have been really poor and negative. I thought against Palace we had some really decent spells, but again, stupid errors and stupid mistakes allowed us to concede goals and concede chances. So ultimately, we need to tidy up on those daft errors for us to have these opportunities to score more goals and concede less goals. In terms of goal scoring, we've been okay. But like I was saying, there will be fans going into this game almost part of you hoping that we're not going to win this game. And I hate, I also appreciate why you want that to happen. I never want to go into a game to lose, and Wolves ultimately have got to win this game. Otherwise, for me, Gary has got to go. In terms of team news, it sounds like it's a pretty much fully fit squad from last week, although Hwang Hee-chan is now back in contention. Again, I know some people will probably be moaning and sighing about that, but certainly, at times, I think Hwang can have an impact. He's back in training. He's looking sharp, according to Gary O'Neill. They've got to make a decision whether he's going to be ready for tomorrow's game against Saints, or whether they will wait until after the international break. Sam Johnston, once again, has trained. I think Saab probably will keep his place, and maybe they'll see the situation over the international break. But the predicted lineup is so difficult for me, because last week I was pretty much bang on, I think, in regards to my selections with Sarabia coming in. Again, there was some praise for Pablo Sarabia in the pre-match press conference today, but ultimately he was not good enough last week against Palace. So in terms of a lineup for me, if I flag it up, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see it on the screen now. I think Sark eats his place in goal. I think we see a similar sort of hybrid formation with Totti at left back, Santi Bueno and Dawson as centre back, right back of Nelson Semedo. João Gomez has got to keep his place. I'd be intrigued to see if Tommy Doyle keeps his place. I would personally probably keep him in there, but Lamina may well come back in. It's crazy that Andre is not getting a kick at the moment, but I think it'd be harsh if Gomez lost his place, to be honest. Cunha, obviously, Strand Larson, obviously, Ainori on the left, and then there's that one position I think up for grabs, to be honest. Sarabia didn't impress. Forbes, I think, is out of favour. Could you see Bellegarde or maybe even an outside shout of Gonzalo Gedge take that place? If I had to gamble and guess, I'd probably say Bellegarde takes that opportunity and takes that place in the team. But ultimately, I would love to see maybe a little bit more bite going forward. So the likes of Gedge or even Forbes, like I've said, I don't think Gary's a huge fan. I think Rodrigo Gomez, it'd be lovely to see him, but ultimately not be getting enough opportunities under Gary O'Neill, and I can't really see that changing tomorrow either. So let me know your thoughts on that one, on the predicted lineup. But we'll move on to the opposition perspective now. It's great to speak to Martin, who is a big Southampton fan, quite a new YouTube channel, quite up and coming, but it's I'm looking forward to seeing how we get on with him in the future. But yeah, his thoughts on Southampton going into this weekend's game. So then, Martin, thank you very much for jumping on Talking Wolves to talk all things Wolves and Southampton. Look, I mean, it's been bad for Wolves. It's been similarly bad for Southampton, although you did manage to get your first win of the season last week. How good was that feeling to finally get 3 points?
Yeah, it was good. It was a good feeling. I didn't think it was going to come for a long time in that game, though. To be fair, I've got to be honest, Dave. We didn't play very well the weekend at all. I've got to be honest. We've played better at home, actually. We played better against Leicester and against Ipswich, to be fair. And just got the rub of the green Saturday. It was all about getting the rub of the green. They did score late on, actually, Everton through Beto, and it was ruled out for offside. It was a tight VAR, but the goalkeeper, Aaron Ramsdale, he got Southampton the victory because he was so good in goal. He makes save after save. He makes a mega save from a free kick, back post. Michael Keane comes in, heads it. How he keeps it out, I don't know, and gets down to it. It was incredible. The win was set up by the goalkeeper. It was all down to Ramsdale. So that speaks volumes about the game, actually, because to be fair, they probably had the better of the chances, Everton, in this one.
Yeah, it's interesting. And Ramsdale was a player that Wolves were linked with, and split opinion quite a lot in our fan base, to be fair. But it's good to see him doing well for you guys. How was the rest of the season, like the start of the season, gone, Martin? Because I think if you're getting promoted through the playoffs, it's never going to be straightforward. You're not never going to be picking up points every single week. But certainly Southampton struggled, and Russell Martin, who we'll talk about a bit more in a second, under a little bit of pressure. But how do you feel it's gone so far? Do you think Southampton are about where they are expected to be, or do you feel like there have been more points there available for you to get?
Yeah, it should have loads more points on the board. Been a bit of a disastrous start, really. When you look at the home fixtures we've had really, all teams in and around us, other than United. Obviously, the home game, the first home game was against Forest, but they've gone on and done quite well this season. But we were really poor in that. Didn't create any chances. We had United at home, which was always going to be tough. We missed a penalty when we were on top and went on to lose the game. We totally collapsed, really. But on another day, should have. Heads just dropped too easy. And then I look at the Ipswich game at home, so close, but didn't see it out. Can see they scored in the 97th minute. You saw what happened against Leicester at home as well, being 2-0 up to lose a game was unforgivable, really. Obviously got to win the weekend, but it's not. We're games there that there was points to be had. We went away to Bournemouth and got absolutely thumped. We went away to Brentford, got thumped. We gift teams a lot of opportunities because of the way he wants to play football, unfortunately, and the Southampton fans don't particularly like it. They want results. They want points on the board. It's all about trying to stay in the division. I'll be honest, if we continue to play like we're playing, we will gift you opportunities the weekend like we do every other team that we play against.
I mean, that sounds good to us. Obviously, I mean, we did a video on your channel, Martin, talking about that a little bit more, and I sort of said to you how well, well we've been performing in terms of going forward. So I think if we were given chances, as long as we take them, we have every chance of getting 3 points in that game. But ultimately, I know you guys haven't scored a hell of a lot of goals, but we've been really poor
Mm,
defensively. So it's going to be an interesting game to call, really. But Russell Martin, who we've spoken about just then,
mm.
there was pressure going into last week's game. He got the win. What's the sort of consensus and mood now around Southampton fans? I have no doubt there is still pressure there. That's not all just going to disappear.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
is there still a hell of a lot of pressure going into this game, or has that been eased a little bit now?
No, I think there's still a lot of pressure on him. You have to look at it. We've had a possible 30 points up for grabs, and we've only picked up 4 points from the possible 30. We've thrown away winnable games at home against teams around us, which you cannot do if you're going to stay in this division. You've got to beat the teams at home. Like you'll be looking at the weekend's game. It is a game that you have to win, even if you're
Mm-hmm.
a few points better off. It's a team you have to beat at home. You have to beat people around you. We failed to do that against Ipswich and Leicester, and it wasn't good enough. And we're letting in too many goals. A lot of the fans are frustrated by the style of play. Like I said, I'm frustrated by it because I just want to see us stay in the Premier League, and I want to give us to give ourselves the best possible chance to do that. Whilst we play the football we play at this moment in time, I'm not convinced that it's going to get the results desired to stay in this division. We will leak too many goals. We will give up too many chances. Inevitably, we don't move the ball back to front quick enough. The goal of the weekend, it wasn't like it come from they've hit the bar, but it took 30, 40 seconds to get the ball up the field anyway, because of the way that we play football, and it's slow and it's pedestrian at times, and it is a little bit painful to watch at times. And obviously we score the goal and nick the game, but the way Saints play football is like they like to control the game and have the ball for long periods, but they don't like being pressed. They're a side that really struggle under the press, and we haven't really had a side do that. I think Man City did it for periods, but they weren't really at it when we played Man City. But the one team that really pressed Southampton and got the joy off of it was Brentford, and both Bournemouth. Bournemouth totally took Saints to bits because of the way they like to play football.
Yeah, I think we can at times have that sort of high press, and we have seen it from Wolves. So again, that's interesting to hear that as well. And like I mentioned to you on your channel, although it's all sort of doom and gloom, there are still some certain players that have been
Mm.
shining and showing what they're capable of. Has there been anybody for Southampton that you think Wolves need to be looking out for on Saturday?
Yeah, I think in the forward positions we're short of a little bit of firepower. Cameron Archer is started to settle in a little bit now. He makes some really good runs. He works really hard off the front. He doesn't play with anyone. We play with it. I think most teams play with it now, and that they sort of play with the two wider men sort of tucked in behind. He sort of plays as that lone number 9. I don't think it necessarily suits him. In behind him, you've got a little lad called Mateus Fernandez, who's probably been Southampton's best player this season. He's very, very good. Tidy on the ball, doesn't give it away, and he just links play up between midfield and the final third. And if he plays, Tyler Dibling's probably been the best player. He's been the shining star on the right hand side. Kind of cuts inside and causes loads of problems. He's good. He's really good, really pacey. Adam Armstrong started on the right at the weekend instead of Tyler because Tyler was ill. And Armour when Tyler went on to the left hand side actually, and replaced Ryan Manning, who's a left back who's been playing in left midfield, sort of left wing back, which I don't like. I think you need somebody that's more attacking, that's going to offer you more going forward, that's going to have the ability to get goals. I think he'll start with Dibbling actually the weekend, and Adam Armstrong. He'll play Adam Armstrong off the left hand side and let him find those pockets of space in behind Cameron Archer. I think that would be the way that he'll probably go. I don't think we'll see loads of changes to our starting 11. But Adam Lallana did pick up an injury against Everton in the first half. So it's how he sets up midfield. Probably Joe Aribo comes in midfield and plays with Downs. Aribo's good. He works really hard alongside Flynn Downs and does a lot of running in there. So there'll be workmanlike in midfield. But I definitely say it'd be Dibbling, Armstrong will be the ones to watch. I think Armstrong just started to find a little bit of form. Everybody down here questioning, is he good enough for the Premier League? Can he score goals at this level? I've no
Mm.
doubt he can score goals at this level. He just needs an opportunity. He's hardly played since August.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with Archer's an interesting one. He scored the winning goal for Sheffield United last year when we played them, which was a bit of a shock result, to be fair, at the time. Not the winning goal. It was one of their goals in a win, though. But I think he's got a lot of family members, and I think some are Wolves fans as well. So I think he'll be
Yeah.
desperate to maybe score on that big stage again as well. And Martin, sort of before we end as well, Russell Martin, there's pressure on him, like you've said. And I've been asked this question about Gary O'Neill before, but do you think he still will be the Southampton manager come the end of the campaign?
No chance. I don't think he'd be the Southampton manager by there.
Oh,
I wouldn't be surprised at a defeat the weekend. I think it will put him under huge pressure. I can't see him being the manager at the end of the season. I just can't see it. I don't know why, but you can't. You're at that stage now where the block of fixtures are. The problem is we've had a lot of our easy fixtures at the start of this season. Now the first 10 games, I spoke to you about the home games we've had. Well, I look after this game against Wolves. We play Wolves at Molineux Saturday. Then we return after the international break and we've got Liverpool, Brighton, Chelsea, Spurs. These are horrific games to play in. And you think we've already had our big opportunity and we've only got the 4 points from the 10 games. So I do fear for us and I fear for him because the opportunity was there. And, if you change manager now, it's hell of an ask of someone to come in and change it now. A lot of fans want to stick with him. I like I said to you, I'm not convinced that the possession-based football that he wants will get you results at his level. His results in prior, he's let too many goals in. Just let too many goals in.
It's interesting because obviously in terms of stature and stuff, I think obviously we've always been an established Premier League club. We've sort of been linked with certain managers, but is there what sort of caliber of manager or what names have been mentioned? If Martin were to go, what sort of names have been mentioned for Southampton?
Yeah, Graham Potter's the one that. Yeah, Graham Potter's the one they speak about a lot. He's spoken about a lot. I think it's a tough one to go and get him. In Dreamland, they're all talking about Jose Mourinho a couple of weeks ago. He's never coming to Southampton. There's no chance of that. But Danny Rowell up at Sheffield Wednesday was an assistant manager under Ralph Hasenhüttl down here. He's doing really well at Sheffield Wednesday, although they didn't have a great result at the weekend against Watford. But somebody that's probably being admired down here. There's a bit of talk about Corberán at West Bromwich Albion. He was spoke about a little bit down here. And also John Eustace at Blackburn Rovers. It was another name being thrown in the hat down here. So they're the names that have been circulating. It will be interesting to see what they do. But I see it being a really tough game for Southampton this weekend. I'm not convinced we could go there and keep a clean sheet. That's probably my biggest fear is we kept a clean sheet against Everton at the weekend, but against Stoke in the Cup a couple of days before that, we capitulated in that and nearly lost the game. And there's a little bit of a mentality issue at times, but we got through adversity at the weekend against against Everton, and we need to take that to Wolves and keep that togetherness and try and find a way to score more goals. I think he's firmed this up and maybe a little bit at the back, but we still need to find ways to score goals, and that is all about transitioning the ball back to front quickly. In the Premier League, you don't do that. Teams defend well, and Wolves will be a tough test for us weekend.
What's your score predictions going into this one then, Martin?
It'd be very saintly of Southampton to end up on the losing end of giving Wolves their first win of the season. I think in my head I'm going to go with a draw, a 1-1 draw. I don't think there'll be loads of goals in it. I'm going to go with a draw. I think most Saints fans will probably take that, but I still don't think a draw really at this stage. With the start we've had, we're paying for it. I think with what's coming the other side of this international break, I think it needs to be 3 points. But I think we'll walk out of it. We'll probably a 1-1 draw.
I don't think a draw does either side a favour, to be fair, does it? Because
not at all.
With both teams in the situation that they're in, you want to be gaining some ground and space between the other teams, and a draw just doesn't do anything. And that's why I said, especially after you guys won last weekend, that's why the Palace result was a bit frustrating for us, because although it's probably a fair result between the two teams, I think it didn't do it or saw Palace any favours. If Palace beat us, they would have gone 7 points clear of us and in a great position. But for us, we didn't really gain ground on either of them. But Martin's going to be a really interesting game. I know you're heading
It will be.
up to Molineux, so obviously I do hope you at least enjoy the trip to the ground. Maybe not your time at the ground too much, but yeah, I'm sure I'll catch you on the reverse fixture. And fingers crossed for both teams. You know, we're both in much better positions. But yeah, apart from Saturday, mate, all the best, and I'll catch you next time.
And you. Thank you, my friend.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. So big thanks to Martin once again. I'll make sure I leave a link to his channel in the description. It'd be great if you guys can go and check that out. And in terms of score prediction, I think Wolves should have enough to win this game. And I don't even want to know or experience what the atmosphere is going to be like if we don't get 3 points tomorrow. I think even a draw, and it'll be such an awkward and uncomfortable place to be, Molineux, tomorrow. But yeah, I'll go with a 2-1 Wolves win. I think we should be good enough, and I think we've shown enough elements of our game that we can get a win. Look, love or hate Gary O'Neill, ultimately I just want one thing, and it's for Wolverhampton Wanderers to be successful. So let's make our voices be heard tomorrow, hopefully positively, really spur the players on to get 3 points, make the atmosphere at Molineux great once again, and yeah, let's see what we can do. But 2-1 for me. Let me know your thoughts if you're watching on YouTube in the comment section down below. Be sure to smash that like button and subscribe like I've said already. If you're watching or listening, on the Spotify and the Apple, be sure to leave us a 5-star rating. But until next time, guys, enjoy your weekend. Be sure to check out the content. Hopefully it's positive as well on Saturday evening. And yeah, fingers crossed for the 3 points. Come on, you Wolves.